Welcome to my channel, Crochet for Baby. Thanks for watching. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to crochet this cardigan sweater, coat, or jacket for boys and girls between 12 and 18 months old. It's very easy to make, so I hope you like it. Now, the one that we're going to make in the tutorial is for boys between 12 and 18 months old, but you can easily make it smaller or bigger from 6 to 9 months and up to 18 to 24 months. Down here in the information box, I'm going to leave some information on how you can make it smaller or bigger, so be sure to check that out. Also, at the end of the tutorial, I leave you the finished measurements, and if you prefer a written pattern and would like to support my channel by purchasing the pattern, I'll leave the link to my Etsy shop in the information box. I really appreciate your support. Now, let's get started, but first, don't forget, all of my tutorials are always in English and in Spanish. Also, don't forget to subscribe, share my tutorials, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. To begin, I'll be using this 4mm crochet hook, and today I'm using this DK weight yarn. You can also use any number 3 yarn or 8-ply yarn. In the information box below, I'll leave the name of the yarn that I'm using. So here, to begin, I have a total of 46 chains. This chain here is measuring about 10.25 inches, which is about 26 centimeters. Now, if you're off by 1 or 2 centimeters, it's okay, just continue with the next step. So here, to begin, on the third chain from the hook, 1, 2, 3 here, I'm going to make 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. Now this here is going to be the first corner. I'm going to go ahead and put a stitch marker into the second single crochet, which is the center stitch. Now I'm going to make a total of 10 single crochets, so beginning into the next chain, make a single crochet and 1 single crochet into the next chains here until we have a total of 10. Continue and I'll meet you back once we have these 10 single crochets. I finished making these 10 single crochets, not including these 3 that I did here. Now into the next chain, I'm going to make 3 single crochets. Now before we continue, make sure to put a stitch marker into the second single crochet, which is the center stitch. Now for the back side here, I'm going to make a total of 20 single crochets. So beginning into the next chain here, make a single crochet and continue until we have 20 single crochets. I finished making these 20 single crochets, not including these 3 in this corner. Now into the next chain here, I'm going to make 3 single crochets. This is going to be the third corner. And before you continue, make sure to put a stitch marker into the second single crochet, which is the center stitch. Now here I'm going to continue and finish this row by making a total of 10 single crochets, and then into the last chain I'm going to make 3 single crochets, which is going to be the fourth corner. Continue and I'll meet you at the end of this first row. Okay, I finished making these last 10 single crochets. Now I have my last chain at the end. As I mentioned, here at the end, we're going to make 3 single crochets. This here is going to be the fourth corner. Now make sure to put a stitch marker here into the second single crochet, which is the middle stitch. Now in this first row, you should have a total of 52 single crochets. Now for the second row, chain 2 and turn. These 2 chains never count as a stitch. They're just there so that this part here is nice and straight. Now to begin this row, we have the first single crochet. In this first single crochet right here, I'm going to make 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. Now into the next chain, which is where I have this stitch marker, I'm going to make my first increase here. So into this stitch here, I'm going to make 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. On each one of the stitches where we have the stitch markers, you're always going to make these 3 stitches. And make sure to return your stitch marker to the second stitch here. Now here I'm going to continue and work these next double crochets until I come to the next stitch marker. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Here's my second corner. Remove this stitch marker, and into this stitch here make 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Before you continue, always return your stitch marker to the second stitch here, which is the middle double crochet. And now continue along and work these double crochets. I will meet you here where we have this third corner to show you once again what you need to do on each one of the corners from here on. I finished making these double crochets for the back side. I have my third corner here. Remove the stitch marker, and into this stitch here make 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Before you continue, don't forget to put your stitch marker into the center stitch, which is the second double crochet. Now continue and finish here the second row, and I'll meet you at the end to show you what we need to do next. I'm almost done with this second row. Here's my fourth corner. Remove this stitch marker, and into this stitch here make 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Now make sure to put your stitch marker back here into the second double crochet, which is the middle stitch. And here to finish, we're going to make 2 double crochets into the last single crochet. 1 and 2. And this is how I finished this second row with a total of 62 double crochets. Now for the third row, chain 1 and turn. Now in this third row, I'm going to make single crochets. So beginning on top of the first double crochet, make 2 single crochets. Into the next 2 double crochets, make 1 single crochet on each. And now here's the stitch marker marking the first corner for this row. Remove that stitch marker, and into this stitch here make 3 single crochets. Now return your stitch marker to the center stitch and continue working single crochets on top of each one of these double crochets until you come to the second corner. Let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 single crochets. Remove the stitch marker, and into this stitch here for the second corner make 3 single crochets. Now return your stitch marker to the second stitch, and now just continue along making 1 single crochet for each one of the double crochets. When you come to the next corner, do the same thing, 3 single crochets, then continue. Here again, you're going to do 3 single crochets, and then I'll meet you here at the end to show you how we're going to finish this third row. I'm here at the end of this third row. Now into this fourth corner, I did my 3 single crochets. Then I made sure to put back my stitch marker, and then I did 2 single crochets. I still have 1 more double crochet here at the end, so into this last double crochet, make 2 single crochets. Now this is how I finished this third row. You should have a total of 72 single crochets. Now for the fourth row, chain 2, turn, and here in this fourth row, I'm going to make double crochet. So beginning on top of the first single crochet, make 2 double crochets. Now into each one of these next single crochets until I come to the stitch marker, make 1 double crochet on each one. That's 2, 3, 4. Now remove this stitch marker, and into each one of the corners, this is what you're going to do. You're going to make 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Make sure to put back your stitch marker into the second double crochet, which is the middle stitch, and then continue along and work 1 double crochet on top of each one of the single crochets until you come to the corners. On each one of the corners, you're going to do 3 double crochets, 3 double crochets here, and then 3 double crochets here. And then I will meet you here at the end of this 4th row to show you how we're going to finish this row. I'm here at the end of this 4th row. I have my last single crochet. Into this last single crochet, I'm going to make 2 double crochets. If you've noticed, we always start with 2 stitches at the beginning, and we always end with 2 stitches. At the end of this 4th row, I have 82 double crochets. Notice that we are increasing 10 stitches at the end of every row. So at the end of the 5th row, we're going to have 92. So to do the 5th row, chain 1, turn. Now beginning on top of the first double crochet, make 2 single crochets. In this row, I'm going to make single crochets. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now remove this stitch marker. This is the first corner. You're going to do exactly the same thing on each one. You're just going to make 3 single crochets. Now make sure to always put back your stitch marker, because you are going to lose count, or you're going to put your increases on the wrong stitch. It has happened to me, so make sure you keep that stitch marker there, marking the center stitch every time we do the 3 stitches. Now I'm going to continue and work these single crochets until I come to the next corner, where I'm going to do the same thing. 3 single crochets on each one. At the end of this row, we're going to have 92 single crochets. I will meet you at the end of this 5th row. I'm here at the end of this 5th row. I have my last double crochet here. Into this last double crochet, make 2 single crochets. Now from here on, you're going to continue on your own, and you're going to repeat these 2 rows. At the end of every row, we're going to be increasing 10 stitches. Remember to always finish with 2 stitches at the end, and to always start with 2 stitches at the beginning of every row. Now let me show you the 6th row. Chain 2, turn. In this row, I need to do the row of double crochets, so beginning into the first single crochet here, make 2 double crochets. Into each one of the single crochets, make a double crochet until you come to the first corner. Let's see, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 double crochets, not including the 2 that we did here at the beginning. Here's the first corner. Remove this stitch marker, and into this stitch here, make 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Remember to always put back your stitch marker to mark the center stitch, which is the second stitch out of the 3 that we always do. And now I'm just going to continue along and make 1 double crochet for each one of the single crochets, and for each one of the corners I'm going to do 3 double crochets in this row, and then here at the end into the last single crochet I'm going to make 2 double crochets. At the end of this 6th row, you should have a total of 102 double crochets. Now I'm not exactly sure how many rows I'm going to do here for my yoke, but continue watching. I will let you know exactly how many rows I'm going to do, and I'll also give you the stitch count for each one of the rows that follow. So I'll give you the stitch count for rows 7 and up to whatever row I finish. So continue watching so that you know those numbers, but basically you're just increasing 10 stitches at the end of every row. So continue, and I'll meet you at the end of that row. Okay, I finished making my yoke. I did a total of 12 rows. At the end of the 12th row, I have 162 double crochets. Now, when I left you off, it was row 6, so at the end of the 6th row, you would have had 102 double crochets. At the end of the 7th row, 112 single crochets. At the end of the 8th row, 122 double crochets. At the end of the 9th row, 132 single crochets. At the end of the 10th row, 142 double crochets. At the end of the 11th row, 152 single crochets. And here I'm at the end of the 12th row, so like I said, I have 162 double crochets. Now it's measuring from the top here of the neckline down to the end of this last row. It's measuring about 13 centimeters, which is a little bit more than 5 inches. Now this part here is measuring about 28 centimeters, which is about 11 inches. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to divide the sleeves. So now let me tell you how many stitches I have for each one of the sides. So for each one of the front panels, I have 23 stitches, and then I have a stitch here in the center. I'm not counting these stitches here that are part of the corners. And then for the sleeves, I have 34 and 34. And then for the back side, I have 44. Now we're going to start counting rows. So this would be row 1. So chain 1 and turn. And here I'm going to work these 23 single crochets. We're not going to increase anymore. So beginning on top of the first double crochet, make a single crochet, then into the next a single crochet, and so on. I'm going to make these 23 single crochets, and I'll meet you right about here where we have the first corner to show you how we're going to divide the sleeves. I finished making these 23 single crochets for this front panel. Now I'm right here. My next stitch is this corner. I'm going to remove this stitch marker, and into this same stitch here, I'm going to make 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. Now to divide the sleeve, chain 4. Now skip 34 double crochets, and into the second corner here, remove this stitch marker. And right inside this stitch, make 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. Now continue and make these 44 single crochets for the back side. I will meet you here where we have the third corner to show you how we're going to divide the second sleeve. I finished making these single crochets for the back side. Now I have this third corner, remove the stitch marker, and into this stitch here, make 3 single crochets. Now for the back side, you should have a total of 50 single crochets. To divide the second sleeve, chain 4, skip these 34 double crochets, and into this fourth corner, remove the stitch marker, make 3 single crochets here. And now continue for this front panel and finish this first row. I'll meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of this first row. I finished making these single crochets. For this front panel, we have divided the sleeves. Now I have a total of 102 single crochets at the end of this first row. I have 26 and 26 for each one of the front panels, and in the back side I have 50 single crochets, and then under the sleeves on each side I have 4 chains. Now for the second row, we're going to chain 2 and turn. Remember, these 2 chains never count as a stitch. Now here I'm going to make these 26 double crochets. So beginning into the first single crochet, make a double crochet and continue until you come here. I will meet you here to show you how we're going to work the chains under the sleeves. I finished making these 26 double crochets for this front panel. I'm right here, right under the sleeve. Now what we're going to do here under the sleeve is we have these 4 chains. So into the first chain, make a double crochet. Same thing into the next chain. Same thing into the next. And same thing into the last chain. So here under the sleeve, we're going to have 4 double crochets. You're going to do exactly the same thing under the other sleeve, and then you're just going to continue along now for the back side. When you get here to the 4 chains here, you're going to do the same thing, 1 double crochet on each one of the chains, and then continue along and finish. I'll meet you at the end of this second row. I'm here at the end of this second row. I have a total of 110 double crochets at the end of this second row. Now for the third row, chain 2 and turn. These 2 chains, remember, never count as a stitch. Now from here on, I'm going to change the pattern here. I'm not going to continue with the same thing we did here for the yoke, where we did a row of single crochets and a row of double crochets. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to work a row of front post and back post double crochets, and then I'm going to do a row of just double crochets and then back to the front post and back post double crochets. If you have a hard time making front post and back post double crochets, you can continue with the same pattern. Since we're not going to increase or anything from here on, we're always going to work these 110 double crochets. So you can do the way that I'm going to show you, or just continue in the same way as we did for the yoke. So here, beginning on top of this first double crochet, make a double crochet into the next double crochet, make a back post double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook through the back, wrap your hook around the post of that second double crochet, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, take 2 loops off. Now yarn over into the next double crochet, make a front post double crochet into the next one, back post double crochet into the next one, front post double crochet. This is all I'm going to do for this third row. Just alternate between a front post and a back post double crochet all the way to the end. So continue, and I'll meet you at the end of this third row. I'm here at the end of this third row. This is where we've done front post and back post double crochets. Now here to finish, I have my last double crochet. On top of this last double crochet, make a double crochet. Now for the fourth row, chain 2 and turn. Now for this fourth row, all I'm going to do is double crochet. So 1 double crochet on top of each one of these double crochets. At the end of this fourth row, we're going to have 110 double crochets. Continue, and I'll meet you at the end of this row. I'm here at the end of this fourth row. I have a total of 110 double crochets. Now, like I said, from here on, we're going to repeat these 2 rows. This row of just double crochets, and then the third row where we did front post and back post double crochets. So here to start you off, for the 5th row, you're going to chain 2 and turn. Now, in this row, we're going to start with a double crochet on top of the first double crochet. And then into the second double crochet, I'm going to make a back post double crochet, then front post double crochet, back post double crochet, front post double crochet, and so on. This is all I'm going to do. I'm just going to alternate between these 2 stitches all the way to the end. Remember, at the end of this row, on top of the last double crochet here, you're going to make a double crochet, then chain 2, turn, and then repeat this row that I just did here, the row of double crochets. That's how you're going to continue for the rest. Now, I'm not exactly sure how many rows I'm going to do from here on, but continue watching. I'll let you know exactly how many rows I'm going to do, so I will meet you at the end of that row. Okay, I finished making this part here. I have a total of 19 pattern rows plus the row of single crochets here. So that's a total of 20 rows. My last row here is the row of just double crochets. Here at the end, I just cut my yarn, passed my yarn through this last loop. The next part that I'm going to do, which is the bottom of the sweater, I'm going to make it in this navy blue color. So that's why I went ahead and cut my yarn. If you're not changing color, then don't cut your yarn. Now, this part here is measuring from the top here of the shoulder to the end of this last row, it's measuring about 31 centimeters, which is about 12.25 inches. If you want to make this part here longer, you can. Just go ahead and add more rows and finish the last row here in the same way, a double crochet row. Now this here is going to be the right side of the sweater. As you can see, the single crochet rows are on the wrong side, but the double crochet rows are on the right side. See? So here, to do this next part, we're going to go here on top of the last double crochet that I did. I'm going to grab a loop here with this navy blue color, same weight. I forgot to mention, up to here I have used up about 110 grams of yarn, so just the gray is about 110 grams. Now here, we're going to chain one, turn on top of this first double crochet, which is the same one where I grabbed the loop here, make a half double crochet. Now here we're going to do the same thing we did in the rows of front post and back post double crochets, but we're going to make half double crochets instead. So yarn over into the next stitch, which is the second double crochet, make a front post half double crochet, into the next back post half double crochet, front post half double crochet, back post half double crochet, front post half double crochet, and so on. Continue like this to the end of this row, and I'll meet you there to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I'm here at the end of this first row. Now to finish here, I have my last double crochet here on top, make a half double crochet. Now for the second row, we're going to chain one and turn, beginning on top of this first half double crochet, make a half double crochet. Now we're going to continue and do the same thing. So this next stitch here is a front post half double crochet, so make a front post half double crochet, into the next back post half double crochet, into the next front post half double crochet, and so on. Continue like this, just alternating between a front post and a back post half double crochet until you come here to the end. Here at the end, on top of the last half double crochet, make a half double crochet on top, chain one, turn, and then repeat the same thing. I think I'm going to do about maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 rows. I'm not sure. Continue watching. I'll let you know exactly how many rows I'm going to do here. Now another option, if you have a hard time making front post and back post stitches, is just make maybe 4 or 5 rows of just single crochets here for the bottom, or maybe just continue in the same way and then just do one last row in a different color. So let's continue and finish this part, and I'll meet you at the end to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I finished making this part. I did a total of 4 rows. Now if you want to make it wider, you can make more rows. I'm going to leave it like this. Now what we're going to do here along the very edge is single crochets, and along the neckline and on the other side. So beginning here on this side, this is where I did my last half double crochet. I'm going to chain one, and into this last half double crochet here, make a single crochet into the next row, single crochet into the next, and single crochet into the next. I have 4 single crochets here. Now into this next row, which is a row of double crochets, make 2 single crochets. Then into the next row, make 1. Into the next row, which is the row of double crochets, make 2. Then 1, 2, 1, 2. That's all I'm going to do. So 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 until you come here, right about here. I'll meet you right here to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I finished making these single crochets. So from here up to here, which is the last row of double crochets, I have 33 single crochets. Now my next row here is the row of single crochets. This is where we divided the sleeves. So into this stitch here, make sure you do 3 single crochets. That's 2, 3. Now we're going to continue here along this side, and we're going to continue in the same way. So here I had 33, 34, 35, 36. I'm going to make 2 here, 37, 38. Into the next row, 39. This is a row single crochet, so only make one. Into the next row, it's a row of double crochets, make 2. That's 40, 41. Into the next row, 42. Into the next row, make 2, 43, 44. Into the next row, 1, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, and 54. I have 54 single crochets for this side here, including these 3 single crochets that we did on this row here. Now I have my first corner, so into this corner make 1 single crochet and then continue along all around the neckline, just making 1 single crochet for each one of these remaining chains that we have here. That's all I'm going to do. Then I'm going to meet you right about here. This is the next corner, so this is where I'm going to do my last stitch. I will meet you right about here to show you how we're going to work this other side. Okay, I finished making these single crochets all around the neckline. This is my last stitch for the neckline here. This is one of the corners right there. Now the next row here is the row of single crochets, so into this row make 1 single crochet. So from here up to here we should have 54 single crochets, or however many you had on the other side. Make sure it's the same number. Now into the next row here for me, I'm going to make 2 single crochets. Into the next row, which is a row of single crochets, make 1, then 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and then 2. And this next row here is the row where we divided the sleeve. So on the other side in this row is where we did 3 single crochets. Make sure you do the exact same thing. 3 single crochets into this row of single crochets, which is the row that we did to divide the sleeves. Now from here on, you're going to continue in the same way, 2, 1, 2, 1, until you come here to the end. Make sure you have 54 single crochets, or however many you had on the other side. For me, it was 54. So I'll continue and finish this side, and then I'll come back and show you what we need to do next. Okay, I finished making these single crochets along this other side. I have a total of 54 single crochets. Now for the second row, chain 1 and turn. Now in this row, we're going to work front post and back post half double crochets into each one of these single crochets. So beginning on top of this first single crochet, which is the last one that I did, I'm going to make a half double crochet. Now into the next, I know it's hard to see here, but I'm just going to insert my hook like this through this space and come out through the other, making sure that you see the post there, and same thing into the next, and so on, like that. So into the next, make a front post half double crochet, into the next back post half double crochet, front post half double crochet, back post half double crochet. This part here is the same thing we did here for the bottom, except that this first row here is a row of single crochets, so you do the same thing. Front post, back post, front post, back post, half double crochets. This is all I'm going to do, so continue all around. Right here where we have these 3 single crochets, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to go in through one, do the same thing on the other, and so on. Continue, and I will meet you here at this end to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I'm here at the end. Here on top of the last stitch, I did a half double crochet. Now for the second row of front post and back post half double crochets, chain 1 and turn. On top of this first half double crochet, make a half double crochet. Now here we're going to work these stitches in the same way. If it's a front post, you make a front post. If it's a back post, make a back post. So for me, this here is a front post. So I'm going to make a front post half double crochet into the next back post half double crochet, front post half double crochet, back post half double crochet, and so on. This is all I'm going to do for this second row. So continue like this all around, and I will meet you here at this other end. Okay, I went ahead and finished this second row of front post and back post half double crochets. If you want to leave your sweater like this with just 2 rows, go ahead and do that. I'm going to add 1 more row. Now, if you notice that around the neckline is too tight with the 3 rows, then don't do the 3rd row. Just go ahead and leave it like this with 2 rows and then continue watching so that you can see how I'm going to do the sleeves. I'm going to continue with the 3rd row, so I'm right here at the end of this second row. So here to do this 3rd row, chain 1 and turn. And same thing, on top of this first half double crochet, make a half double crochet, and then do the same thing, a front post half double crochet, back post half double crochet, front post half double crochet, and so on. I'm going to continue like this all around, so I'll meet you here at this other end right here to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I'm here at the end of this 3rd row. I like the way that this looks with the 3 rows here. If you want to make 2, that's up to you and it's fine. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to continue along the bottom and make 1 more row of front post and back post half double crochets. I don't like the way that this part here looks. I think it looks a little messy, so if you like the way that yours looks, it's fine. You can just go ahead and cut your yarn here, but I'm going to go ahead and continue here down the bottom. So what I'm going to do here is I did my last half double crochet here on top of the last stitch there. I did 1 chain, and now into this space right there, I'm going to go in and make a half double crochet. Now we have this last front post half double crochet that we did when we did the bottom part. So I'm going to do a front, then back, front, back. So this next stitch here has to be a back post half double crochet. That's 1. The next one, front post half double crochet. The next one, back post half double crochet. Next one, front post. See, this is the one now that's part of the bottom that we did. So now we are just going to continue and do the same thing, front post, back post, front post, back post, half double crochets. So just continue, and I will meet you right here at this end to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I finished making this last row here at the bottom. Here I just finished by making a half double crochet right here, then cutting my yarn and passing my yarn through that last loop. Now this part here is done. Now I also went ahead and added my buttons. These buttons here are 12mm buttons, and now the buttonholes are the spaces in between the rows. As you can see right here, there's a space there, and that's what I'm using as buttonholes. I didn't add any buttonholes because there's no need. The spaces that are left in between the rows here are big enough for buttons that are about, I don't know, 11, 12 millimeters buttons to fit there perfectly. So I went ahead and added 4, and that's what it looks like. Now I also went ahead and did one of the sleeves. We're going to do it exactly in the same way. Now I'm thinking of making another sweater, but slightly bigger for my son. He's almost 7, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. I really love this pattern here. I like the V-neck, and especially the color in the stitch. It's absolutely beautiful. Now if you prefer also, you can leave it without any sleeves and just turn it into a nice little vest. That would be up to you. I would probably do something like this around the sleeves, and that would be up to you. So now we're going to go ahead and do the sleeves. It's going to be done exactly in the same way for both sides. So I'm going to do the right side now. So we're going to go right here under the sleeve, and the important thing here is that the first row is going to be worked from the inside out, so make sure you do the same thing here on this side. So to begin, I'm going to use the same hook, the 4mm hook, and if you remember here under the sleeve we have 4 double crochets because we had 4 chains and then we added 1 double crochet for each chain. So I'm going to go right in the middle. So I'm going to have 2 on this side and 2 on this side. So insert your hook there, grab a loop with this same yarn here. And remember, this first row is going to be worked from the inside out on both sides. So chain 1 here. Now, right here, I have the 2 double crochets out of the 4 that we have here under the sleeve. So I said 2 and 2 on each side. And then right next to it, I have this other stitch. So we're going to continue with the pattern. I have a row of double crochets. So now I need to do the row of front post and back post double crochets. So this next double crochet, make into a front post double crochet. The next one, back post double crochet. The next one, front post double crochet. So here I have 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to go right here to the sleeve. Remember, for the sleeve we had left 34 stitches. So what I'm going to do here is we have this corner where we have 3 double crochets. One of the double crochets is part of the 34, but I'm going to go into the one before that, so the center double crochet right here, and I'm going to work a back post double crochet like this. I'm doing this because I want to finish with a total of 42 double crochets here at the end of this row. So there's my back post double crochet, and now into the first double crochet out of the 34 for the sleeve, make a front post double crochet, then back post double crochet, front post double crochet, back post double crochet, and so on. That's how you're going to continue until you come to this other corner right here. Right here, this is where we divide it, and right into this double crochet where we have the same stitch where we divide it, that's the last stitch that we're going to work for the sleeve, and then we're going to continue for this side and make 3 front post and back post double crochets, but I'll show you that. So continue, and I'll meet you right here to show you how we're going to finish this first row. Okay, I'm almost done with this first row here for the sleeve. I did my last stitch here. This is the stitch where I showed you that we had 3, and then that second one I did my front post double crochet. So up to here I have 39 double crochets. Now I'm going to go right here. Remember I said we have 2 double crochets right here on this side, and then right next to it we have this other one. So into this one right here, I'm going to work a back post double crochet, and then front post double crochet into the next, and then back post double crochet. Now I have 42 double crochets for this first row. To finish, go on top of the first double crochet, this one here, right there, and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finish this first row. Now the important thing here is that we end with 42 double crochets, so front post and back post double crochets. So however way you decide to do it, especially right here, make sure that you finish with 42. Now for the second row, we're going to chain 1 and turn. Now from here on, we're going to turn for every row, and we're going to repeat 2 rows. The row of double crochets and the row of front post and back post double crochets. So in this second row, I have to make the row of double crochets. So I'm going to go on top of this last double crochet right here and make a double crochet on top of the next, double crochet on top of the next, and so on. Here, this is all I'm going to do, and at the end of this second row, I'm going to have 42 double crochets. This chain here does not count as a stitch. Continue all around the second row, and I'll meet you here at the end. I'm here at the end of this second row. In this row, I have done double crochets all around. Now, to finish this row, we're going to go on top of the first double crochet right here and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finished this second row with a total of 42 double crochets. Remember, this chain here never counts as a stitch. Now, like I said, from here on, we're going to repeat these 2 rows. So for the third row, you're going to chain 1 and turn. In this row, I have to make the row of front post and back post double crochets. So beginning right here, this is the first double crochet for this side. Make a front post double crochet. Next one, back post double crochet. Next one, front post double crochets. Now, if you have a hard time making front post and back post double crochets, as I said before, you can make this here in the same stitch here. Just make sure that you have the same number of stitches. And if you notice that the sleeve here is too wide, then go ahead and do only 40 stitches. So that's another option. But for now, this is how I'm going to continue, just repeating these 2 rows. So continue, finish this third row, and I'll meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of this third row. This is where I've done front post and back post double crochets. I have 42 stitches here. To finish, go on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finished this row. So from here on, like I said, we're going to repeat these 2 rows. So for row 4, chain 1 and turn. In this row, I need to make the row of double crochet. So all you do for this row is just make 1 double crochet on top of each one of the front post and back post double crochets. And at the end of this row, you're going to have 42 double crochets. That's all you're going to do from here on. When you finish this row, you're going to join here to the top of the first double crochet with a slip stitch, chain 1 and turn, and then repeat the row of front post and back post double crochets. You're going to do this for a total of 20 rows, which is how many rows I did here for this side. And then I'm going to come back and show you how to do the cuff here. For the cuff, I did 3 rows of front post and back post half double crochet. So continue, finish making these 20 rows, and then I'll come back and show you what we need to do next. Okay, I did a total of 20 rows. My last row here is the row of double crochets. Here to finish, I just joined to the top of the first double crochet with a slip stitch, cut my yarn and pass my yarn through that last loop, and this part here is done. So I have a total of 20 rows. Now we're going to do 3 rows of front post and back post half double crochet. So insert your hook into the same stitch, which is the first double crochet here, and make 1 chain. Now here we're going to work front post and back post half double crochet. So yarn over into this first double crochet, make a front post half double crochet, into the next back post half double crochet, into the next front post half double crochet, back post half double crochet, and so on. This is how you're going to continue for this row here for the cuff. So continue all around. When you finish this row, same thing. You're just going to go on top of the first half double crochet, join with a slip stitch, chain 1, and then repeat the same thing until you have a total of 3 rows. And then once you're done, you're just going to join to the beginning, cut your yarn, pass your yarn through that last loop, and this is how it's going to look. So continue, finish these 3 rows, and then I'll come back and show you the finished sleeve. Okay, I finished making the cuff. I did 3 rows of front post and back post half double crochets. Here at the end, I just joined to the beginning, cut my yarn, pass my yarn through this last loop. So all I need to do here is just tie this end, and the sleeve is all done, and that's what it looks like. Now remember, you're going to do exactly the same thing that I did here for this sleeve. You're going to do it here on this side. It's done exactly in the same way, so make sure to do that. So this cardigan sweater is all done. That's what it looks like. Here's the bottom. Here's the front of the V-neck, and here's the back side. I absolutely love this stitch. I think I'm going to do a baby blanket. And I think I'm also going to make a sweater for myself, so stay tuned. And my son, he's almost 7. He said he liked it, so he said he wanted one, so we'll see. I'll see if I can make one, and obviously I will show it to you all, so stay tuned. Now let me give you the finished measurements. From the top here of the neckline down to the end of the sleeve is measuring about 35 centimeters, which is about 13.75 inches. From under the sleeve to the end of the sleeve, it's measuring about 20.5 centimeters, which is about 8.25 inches. And the width of the sleeve, just the top, it's measuring about 11 centimeters, which is about 4.25 inches. And the length from the top of the neckline to the end of this last row, it's measuring about 36 centimeters, which is about 14.25 inches. Now the chest area, just the top, it's measuring about 31 centimeters, which is about 12.25 inches. So based on these measurements, this little cardigan sweater is for boys and girls between 12 and 18 months old. Now you can also make it smaller or bigger. Down here in the information box, I'm going to leave some information on how you can make it smaller or bigger, so be sure to check that out. I'd say from 6 to 9 months and up to 18 to 24 months. Also, as I mentioned, you can make it for girls. Just make sure to put your buttons here on this side, and your buttonholes are going to be here on this side. And as I mentioned, these buttons here are 12 millimeter, and the buttonholes are the spaces in between the rows that I'm using as buttonholes. So this sweater here is all done. There it is. Stay tuned for those bigger sizes. I think I'm going to venture out and try to make one for myself because I absolutely love this stitch. It's so easy, and I'm also thinking about making a baby blanket, so stay tuned for all of that. Okay, so this was today's tutorial. I hope you like it. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.